Hi, I'll be presenting the fourth assignment for the Brave New World unit. And before I start, Brave New World was an interesting and unique book, something that we've never actually read before in high school. And it was awesome reading it, a very cool story. And for this assignment, I'll be reading a quote. This quote takes place chapter 8 and is a conversation between Bernard and John. Bernard blushes uncomfortably. You see, he said, mumbling with his averted eyes. I'm rather different from most people. I suppose. If one happens to be decanted different, yes, that's just it. The young man nodded. If one's different, one's bound to be different. End quote. And well, it is kind of true. Bernard Marx might be civilized in the civilized world, and John is a savage, but they both feel like they're different. Bernard is a alpha male who's been genetically engineered in a lab, but he's not that thrilled himself. John is some white guy living amongst these savages, and he grew up reading Shakespeare. So his his personal viewpoint is that everything is different. These people in the society are just different. But the thing is that Bernard and John both believe that they don't belong in this dystopian society. They believe that they're isolated because of their differences, and no one understands that. And the reason I chose this quote was because, well, in our course theme, isolation is the key point. And I believe that being different is a strong reason why people become isolated. Isolation is just people not wanting to accept you. So when you're different, you're harder to accept. And this can be seen so many places, so many times. And this can also be seen in our real world today. People and nations don't like to accept people. We don't like to accept people because of their race, identity, nationality. So we just like to put them aside, isolate them, keep them away from ourselves. And this to this day is still happening. You see in Myanmar, a country in Southeast Asia, they are, well, they're kicking a whole ethnic group out. Muslims, actually, Rohingya Muslims. And this is one of the biggest ethnic cleansings since, well, Hitler actually invaded most of Europe for Jews. And there are currently 625,000 Rohingya Muslims that have been kicked out of the country, told that they are different and they can't stay in that country. So I do connect with it. It's something that's still in our world. This John's connection, John and Bernard's idea of different might be different in our societies, but it's still the same. It's still the same. Uh, another cool point would be about how basically being different just leads to isolation, and that isolation leads to problems. This can be seen in two of our books or texts that we read in our class. Hamlet, a great example of it, is because, well, Hamlet, after Hamlet Sr. dies, he just feels so betrayed by everybody, especially his mother, because she marries the person who killed his father. And he just feels isolated. He just feels so much more different because no one understands him, no one believes him. And he just, his differences cause isolation. And that isolation ultimately causes madness, which just defeats himself. No one else defeats him but himself. His madness kills him basically at the end. Kills not him, but more than just him. Kills a bunch of other people. And this is isolation that just it's just the cause of so many problems. And the same thing with Gladiator. You have Commodus, and Commodus is kind of a different story, but he's not really isolated. But the thing is that Commodus, no one really understands his viewpoint. Even though he's a king, people are supposed to respect him. Commodus is just so much more different than everybody that no one wants to respect him, and he's just isolated. But his isolation is, well, he deserves it because he's like doing stuff for evil, and he's not doing for the for the good thing, for the good. So, yeah, I believe that, well, his isolation can cause so many more problems, and So, now you can see that differences. Well, I'll try to sum it up. Differences, a person being different, is the root cause of isolation. Being different means that you don't want to be accepted. People don't want to accept you, and that's just basically it. And yeah, that's my little spiel. Hope you liked it. Thank you.